Hi there, Kim from Colorful Spirits Art Studio in Elm City, North Carolina here, and I'm going to be starting a new painting. It's a couple of birds in a nest, so I'm just going to get it started here. For my background, I'm just using a mid-sized brush, and I'm just kind of doing these kind of X strokes to just get my background in. I don't worry too much about, I want the background to be a little foggy. And I've got some sky blue and white here that I'm kind of mixing together, so I get a nice look for my background. Okay, somebody just popped into my studio, so I have to stop there. So that is my sky background. So I'm just going to get that on there. And now we're going to go to some of the leaves. And so I'm going to do the same thing to start with the background here. And then I'm going to add some more defined leaves later. I just want to get this on here so that there's no white canvas showing. And I've got a couple of different greens I'm using just to get some variety. And then once this is all on there, I'm going to put in some actual leaves. And eventually I'm going to paint the sides of my canvas, which I like to do. I don't like to have the sides white. So that's just kind of a pet peeve, I guess, of mine. Okay, there's going to be a nest right here. So I'm just getting that started. If y'all could see what a mess this studio is, you'd be amazed that I can get anything done. So I've just got, oh, I lost it. Some burnt umber here that I'm starting the shape of the nest with. And it may change, it may get bigger or smaller, I'm not sure yet. Okay, so that's some burnt umber to lay down the start of my nest. And then I'm going to use some burnt sienna and some yellow ochre in here as well. So I'm just doing these kind of rounded strokes because I want it to, I want the strokes to kind of build the nest. So now I've got the yellow ochre going over it with, okay. And then of course it's on, the nest itself is on some branches that are going to go off. And then we're going to have another branch. And I might want to do that with a thinner brush. I'm going to have another branch that goes up, and one of the birds is sitting on, but I want to make sure I do that a little thinner. Okay, so that's going to be the branch that my little bird is sitting on. And there's a little branch, a little offshoot off of there. And it's going to get a little thicker as it goes down towards the tree. And then it's going to disappear kind of behind there. Okay, I dried it a little bit so I can move on to another step here. I'm going to start putting in some of these leaves. I use Creative Inspirations paint from Jerry's Artorama, just so you are aware. I do a lot of classes, so they have served me very well. The brushes I use are also from Jerry's. I believe they're called Pro Stroke. I'll have to look it up, but I'll put a link in the description so you have that information. But I've used those for years as well, and they're fabulous. Different sizes, you can get the set. So I really like them a lot. So I'm just putting some shapes in here right now for the leaves. I'm not going too crazy. I'm going to lighten up some of this green because there's going to be some, no, that might be too light. Okay, because there's going to be some other kind of leaves. Yeah, you can't quite see them in the background, but okay. And we just want to make sure that the canvas is not showing through. That's the main thing. I want to have everything covered. And a lot of this will be back and forth. You'll see I'll go over things a few different times until I get it the way I want it. I'm trying to get some of that blue in here, but it's a little dark. But we'll leave that for now. Okay, so inside the nest, there are going to be 3 eggs, so I'm just going to kind of block them in right now. It doesn't have to be perfect, it's just so there's some paint on there and I know what's going to go in there. And I can go kind of, oops. In between here, just show. Okay, we'll fix all that up later. I just like to have paint everywhere, it bothers me. Okay. I'm going to lighten up in here a little bit with the yellow ochre and some of the burnt umber. So the inside of the nest is a little darker, but I think it's just a little too dark, so I want to have some you know, some variety in there. Okay. And then this side of the nest is actually going to come up over the eggs a little bit. So okay. So we will get back to that. Or maybe we won't. Maybe I'll work on it a little bit more. I'm just getting some more of this yellow, some lights in here so that it doesn't look quite so dark. But I want to still have it look like it's made out of all those vines. And it might be too wet. I might have to come back to this. If you know, if the paint's too wet and you keep messing with it, you wind up with mud. So sometimes you just have to step away. I'm just putting a little bit of blue in this background here. Still have my, my other colors in there, but I just wanted to get something to help it to stand out. Okay, got it dry again. Just keep stopping to dry it because we don't want to make a mess. Okay, so in the front of this nest are some flowers. So I'm going to start putting those in. They're a little too pink now, but I'm going to lighten them up some, but and I'm just kind of, creating the shape with my brush, nothing crazy, and it's not going to be perfect like the image that I'm using here. I don't want it to be exactly like that. I just use whatever images I use them as a suggestion, and I don't want mine to be exactly like it. I'm not looking, if I wanted a photograph, or I could just print out the one I'm looking at. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is my interpretation of it. And for me, it's as much about the process of doing the painting as anything else, because I just really enjoy painting, and I enjoy getting lost in my painting and just having fun. And I'm putting some brighter whites around the outside of these leaves here, just to get some highlights. I like very thick paint too, so you may not, but it's just my thing. I like to see the paint strokes. I like to see the texture. Is in the center of these, there's a little bit of orange and yellow. So I'm going to go in with the orange first. And I've got another one over here that I'm going to put in. Like I said, later I'm going to go back and paint the sides because that's going to drive me batty. I really like to have my sides finished. And the painting will literally, like these flowers will wrap around the sides. So the sides, I've been told that the sides look like separate paintings. And especially on a thicker canvas, it's really nice. Okay, I think we're going to have to let that dry a little bit. It's a little too wet to do much else there. Okay, I've got it dried some more. Now I'm going to put some yellow in the center of these flowers. I'm not quite sure what kind they are, but they have this kind of ruffled inside here. It's kind of a orange and yellow type of thing, so probably going to go back with some more orange later. But but we definitely want to get, and that one's hidden a little bit underneath the, and there's white in the center of it. Okay, and then there's definitely, again, we're going to be way too wet here, but there's, in those little ruffles, there's some orange, but I don't know how much I can get here because it's so wet. Okay, we'll get back to those. I would like to get some more paint on these eggs here. A little less of those thick lines between them. Okay. Alrighty. Now I want to get a little, I did the burnt sienna to create the branches, but now I want to have a little yellow ochre on the top of it for some highlights, and we're going to have some on this branch under here so we can see it a little bit better. Now we are going to start, we've got a bird, well, we've got two birds, but I'm trying to decide how I want to start them because they have a lot of different colors in them. So the one is over here. It's got a blue head. Then he goes down into kind of a green body, which I'm gonna have to, hold on. Okay, what I did here is I put some of the blue over the greenery over there because this bird has a lot of green in him and he was not gonna stand out with all that. So I may still need to work on him to get him to stand out a little bit better, but at least he's got a shot now. So. So now I'm putting in the wing, and there's going to be some white on this wing, but I will get back to that. A little too much green going on there. Clean this brush off using the cadmium yellow light, and I want it to be pretty bright, so I might have to dry this yet again. Yeah, I think we're looking at a little too wet here. Way too much yellow. So I've got a little water on my brush, and I am going back in with some white in areas where it's supposed to be a little lighter. And I want it to sort of, I'm just kind of wiggling my brush around to get it, that paint to sort of mix in there. I want it to look very almost watercolor-like. think we're gonna let that one dry a minute and work on the other one. Okay, so up here we've got another guy, and he's up here, and again we're getting some serious green. But that blue background was dry, but I guess it's not. So I'm just drawing in my bird here. Too much on the brush. Okay. Now he's got the same coloring as the other one, so. And what I do when I'm doing something like this to steady myself, I lean my pinky on the canvas. So that might be something for you to consider when you're having trouble sometimes doing something that maybe is a little, what's the word, fragile, just difficult with, you know, holding your hand upright. You can do something like this and use that pinky to help you. Now he's got, almost looks a little orangey under here, so I mixed some orange with that cadmium yellow, and I'll probably lighten it up some a little bit later, but I'm going to draw this a little bit more because it's definitely going to need to dry. Okay, I'm going to dry this. Okay, somehow I didn't hit the record button there. So I have, let's see, touched up their beaks. I forgot his tail, so I put his tail in. I tried to crisp up the eggs a little bit. I'm putting some darks in the branch. I put some blue in there, and I'm going to put some probably in the background here a little bit to get some really juicy shadows. And then I'm going to do my wiggle wiggle with the brush to get it to sort of mix in with what's around it. But there's a lot of blues in nature, so I love to put blue in trees and branches. And it just gives a really rich looking shadow. So I think I'm gonna quit now because I could be here all night, and I know I'm gonna bore you folks to tears, but I can show you what I got so far. There's my birdies. And you know, the flowers still probably could use a little bit of work, but I'll post a picture of the finished piece when I'm done.